I don't love the taste of liver, but I like how it makes me feel, so that's why I eat it. Good morning, my friends. I am just about to prepare my raw liver that I've been eating just little pieces of every day for a couple months now. So this is what it looks like after they're chopped up and frozen. So I'll show you how I make sure they don't stick together when they're frozen. It's very simple and easy. Of course, you don't have to eat it raw. I remember when I first started carnivore and saw that people were eating raw meat, I was like, that is the craziest thing I have ever seen. I will never, ever, ever do that. And here we are. Really, the only things that I eat raw are raw liver and now raw bone marrow. And I actually eat these pieces when they're still mostly frozen. One more thing I'd like to say about eating anything raw, just make sure if you're going to do that, that it's from a farm that you really trust. Obviously local is best, but if you can't find a local farm, I definitely recommend White Oak Pastures. That's where I get most of my meats and also where I get my beef liver. So I'll put a link to White Oak down below. I'm just gonna let this frozen liver defrost for an hour or two, just enough to where you can slice through it. It's easier to slice when it's still partially frozen, so that's how I like to do it. So the liver is partially thawed now, and I'm just going to chop it up into pieces about an inch wide, and it's a little bit messy, as you can see. Now I'm lining this baking sheet with parchment paper. I'm just placing the pieces of liver just slightly apart on the parchment paper on the baking tray, just like this. Now I'm going to put the tray into the freezer for about an hour and a half. Okay, so I've got my tray of beef liver pieces just all frozen for a little over an hour now. And so this will just make it so the wet pieces of the liver won't stick together. Just put them into a glass container, and then every day I'll just pull it out and grab one. Just a little tip if you're doing this, make sure not to leave the container with all the pieces of liver out for too long, because then it'll start to defrost. And if it defrosts enough, then it'll become really moist and you'll put it back in the freezer, and then the pieces will stick together. So just make sure to keep your little container full of pieces of liver nice and frozen, and then they won't stick together. This is what they look like once they're in the glass container, and they just stay like this as long as they're frozen. I'll show you how I eat the piece of liver, so I'll just grab a little small one here. But basically when I'm getting my food ready, right before I get my food out, I'll take a piece out, I'll put it on my plate and let it kind of defrost for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll eat it while it's partially or mostly frozen. And for me, that just makes the taste a lot more bearable. I don't love the taste of liver, but I like how it makes me feel, so that's why I eat it. And I know some of you guys have commented on some of my videos when I eat liver that I need to watch out for vitamin A toxicity. That's not something that I'm worried about at all. I'm familiar that it's a kind of a heated topic in the carnivore community with vitamin A, but actually before I became sick, I was deficient in vitamin A from a vitamin panel that I had, and so I know that my body needs these nutrients and I feel better on them. And honestly, the best thing I can recommend for you is to try it out and see how you go. But if you are chronically ill and tend to be sensitive to things, I recommend to start really, really low with it. Personally, in my own healing journey, at first I really wasn't able to do liver. It gave me too strong of a detox or Herxheimer reaction, which actually at first would cause me to have like my really bad neurological reactions just from the nutrients in the beef liver. But now I'm able to eat it, but I started really, really small. I probably started with like, I don't know, like a third of this, and now I can eat bigger pieces than this one right here. But yeah, so just be careful with it. If you do have a reaction to it, it might just be a detox or a Herxheimer reaction to all of the nutrients in liver. It's so nutrient dense that it can cause die-off reactions in our body. Anyway, just going right into the liver. Now I can actually chew it. I used to just swallow it, sort of whole in small pieces. I don't like the taste that much. I usually have some water just to help me swallow it down. But yeah, that's really all there is to it with the beef liver. I did want to mention that some people do really well with organ supplements, and that's something that I've experimented with as well in my journey. I prefer to eat organs fresh if possible, but sometimes it's just like not convenient to make them, and sometimes people are a little bit too intimidated to try eating them, whether it's raw or cooked. The taste can be pretty different than what we're used to, and it's just because our palates are so not used to organ meat for the most part. So my husband Jake takes liver pills every day, and he finds that it helps with his sleep and energy and hair, and my sister takes them as well, and her husband, they really love them. And so this is another sort of polarizing topic in the carnivore community, but you know what, guys, I'm just like, if the supplements help you, then take them. Like, it's literally just dehydrated, freeze-dried organs. I think that's so much better than most supplements that are out there. It's real food, and so I think there's nothing wrong with taking them and experimenting with them if they help you. Personally, I've been taking a gut organ supplement just because I don't really want to regularly prepare tripe to eat, but I have found that it has helped with my digestion. I'll update on that more in another post, but I'll just grab the bottles here real quick. These are the ones that my husband takes. The brand is Heart and Soil. I'll put a link to these down below if you guys want to check those out. I honestly think the supplements is a good way to start with organs, and a good sort of gateway to hopefully eventually starting to cook or eat organs fresh. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of eating raw liver, whether you think it's crazy or if you think it's awesome. I think we'll get a little bit of both. Anyways, make sure that you subscribe and follow along on Instagram. I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.